Fortunately, last week I had some recording issues, and I was like, I'll just do a two-part chapter this week because the last chapter, for the most part, it was mostly just getting a little bit of the Ada Uma. Like, there wasn't a ton. I think one of the things to really note was like how busted Amo-un's power is, but also the fact that it is leading into like a trading arc. Because one thing obviously that was shown is Andy using parts bullet, it not working, but Amo-un instantly using a better version, probably just because a stronger imagination. Like, Amo-un does manga like regularly, so it would make sense to have that kind of like power level upgrade mindset like already built into this character. Like, there wasn't a ton to go off of. That was one thing that I think was a bit of a takeaway. It was a setup chapter, but I think this chapter did everything that the last chapter did, but way better. Because we got explanation on what the Autumn Uma's ability is in this chapter, like a straight explanation. We see hinting towards Andy's past, as well as we see it actually in use, and talking about how old he actually is, showing this book, and it's like, okay, this is the story of his life. It's obviously way longer than that of a normal person's. What I'm curious about this book is Andy definitely seems like Andy and Victor rather seem, exceptions to the whole, you forget everything every time the world resets. It wouldn't surprise me if the full version of his memory goes into other timelines. That's one thing that I'm very curious about in terms of his character. Maybe this is Andy specifically, and Victor's book will be way bigger, and that'll be something included. It's like, yeah, not only do we have everything in my life, but every single timeline I've existed in, is in this book, kind of thing. And they could learn off of where previous timelines messed up. I think that's one thing that's a very weird yet high potential way to put in this series, because it's very strange how Undead Unluck always exists close to the end game. I don't know, it's very strange. It's like, you go back and you look at a series and where where the bigger things are, where everything is like, oh, this is something that's brought up that actually has to do with something that'll happen near the end, or anything like that, where it just is when we're near the finale and we're constantly close. I think it's like two penalties and then the end of the world. And it's set up in a world where, because of the story, the world has actually gone through this multiple times and will go through it again if they fail. It just got this weird kind of vibe to it. I definitely really like I said, it constantly just feels like the final boss and stuff could happen after any arc. But going into Andy's memories, I think is going to be just all around very interesting, just because the way that it's even shown at the start, it doesn't have some kind of a traditional, he was some big deal, legend kind of guy before it. Just showing the base, he just seems to be like a cowboy somewhere over America or something. I would have expected him to have some special backstory of some chosen warrior or some high tier soldier or something, but it looks like they're starting it out before everything else, where Andy's just some gunslinger, essentially. He's just some cowboy, maybe an outlaw or something. I think that's really cool. I really like his backstory. It seems to be it's just gonna start from a very, very grounded human level. I think that's gonna be intriguing in of itself, because it'll show each step of how his life got crazier. I think seeing the very, very, very beginning, and not just kind of in his prime, whenever he started, or way more kind of Andy in the main story, whereas this is Andy's story. This is the very beginning of what Andy has. So there's a lot of general kind of layout in this chapter that I really liked, and I think it actually did better together with chapter 39 than chapter 40 itself. Just doing these two reviews together, I think actually fits, just because they're both setup chapters, but combining them in a way that really kind of kind of like talking about, oh, Ama-Un's powers. Oh, okay, they're going to training. We find out like essentially some of the details of said training. It's gonna be like, okay, you got to figure out some of Andy's memories, and Ama-Un's power seems really broken because like not only does said character, because they've gone out of the author's gone out of their way to not specify like if Ama-Un is male or female. It's not like a character where it's, oh, you know, it maybe if it's like a male character, it's done in a way that it's like, okay, it ends up actually just being a very feminine male character or something. It's more of like Corona from Soul Eater, where it's intentionally leaving you in the dark, which is fine. I mean, I think it fits into like this character being this kind of silly, but yet silly character, silly personality, yet like somebody who essentially just knows the past and the future and a bunch of the secrets of the world. I think that fits really well, and because the idea obviously is like some weird, almost philosopher kind of like oracle or prophet or something, but done in such a goofy way and then twisted to so her or his, whatever that you'd use, where Ama-Un's character and everything behind it also becomes a mangaka and is kind of depicting history, like this like secret history of the world through like a shoujo manga. I think it's just interesting in of itself. But seeing Andy's backstory, I think is gonna be really cool. I like the weird soul caliber ability that Ama-Un has, where she like essentially takes Izumo's soul like being and puts it inside of Andy's book. So do some like weird kind of like conceptual, like it's a very strange thing because I got like soul removing, but like putting the soul in a book puts you in like an alternate world, kind of like the history of that. It's just really neat. I think that in of itself is just a really fun way to do backstory in this series, because it's something we could get more often. And I would like to see more of like backstories like this, where it's cool when you get to see like the general just kind of flashback, but I really like that we're going to be seeing one of the main cast experiencing this flashback like as it goes, like in real time. It's not going to be like afterwards we see a reaction. So Andy at the end, he's like a cowboy, I think is pretty cool. There's obviously like some other gang of criminals he's with, or sheriffs, I guess we don't really know, but I'm really looking forward to finding out like how he gets his power, because I don't think it's been directly stated yet, but I think I figured out how the powers of Undead Unluck work. I think it's like the whole idea of whatever your power is, like the something, is they have all the rules for the universe, but you are somehow exempt from that rule. So Andy's is the rule of death. He is exempt from the rule of death, so he can't die. I don't know, it just makes sense to me. Either way, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.